number 144. We've got all the teams across the coast represented. We got the Penguins. We got Virginia Tech. We got the Bridgewaters there. We got Navy. The midshipmen. We got Kansas City. I heard they won a championship a while ago. We got the Water stacking, staying dehydrated. Schottenkirk is back. He's done his scouting for the 2019 NBA draft, so he's got all the notes on that coming up next. College football, all the teams shit the bed. Half the teams that were in the playoff hunt, they're now done. The baseball stack and the Twins signed an Asian. Did you hear that they signed an Asian?
Yes. Oh, did they sign him? I just heard they got.
Well, they would. I mean, I would hope the hell they'd sign him in the next couple of weeks.
The worst part about this is, though, he said he's going to get rid of his bat flip. And that is a crying shame because it looks like it's part of his swing, and I like that. He's got to keep that. The St. Louis Cardinals, the policemen of baseball, can just suck it.
Yeah, if he would keep that, he'd be dead within a week. He'd get in the head, and they'd put him out of commission. But first, for the first time, I think, all season long, we start with the professional football ranks. Unbelievable. What have we got with this New England game? 8-0. The Giants, they always dominate the Giants. We know this. What's going on in this game here?
3rd and goal at the 5.
For the Giants?
Yep, for the Giants at the New England 5. I don't know. I don't know how many timeouts the Patriots have.
How much time is left?
Like a minute and a half.
Minute and a half?
And they're only down 1, so even a field goal would do it, assuming that Brady doesn't drive them back down the field. But
field goal pending. So Patriots at 8-0 on the brink of defeat. That would leave Cincinnati at 8-0, only undefeated team in the AFC. Then you've got the Carolina Panthers, undefeated in the NFC. They look to have a pretty strong hold on that 1 seed right now. David, Carolina, favorite in the conference?
I'll say a definitive no. I mean, they've proved me wrong here the last few weeks, continue to win, but I still don't think that they're come playoff time that they have the weapons on offense to keep up. The defense is pretty good. Newton's been playing well. His numbers are kind of deceiving. He's been MVP caliber, even though he really doesn't have MVP stats. He's doing it in the fourth quarter, and at winning time, he's getting it done. I still think there's a team or two, and there's a team or two that everyone thought would be really good that have been struggling recently, including the Packers. How about that? Losing for the first time in 24 years today at home to Detroit. That's
what's your birthday?
Fine long term. And tonight, Arizona and Seattle is going to show me a lot. If Seattle comes out and plays like the way I think they will, and I think they can, I think that they're ready for a second half run, and they might be my favorite, regardless if they're at home or on the road in the playoffs.
Arizona.
If they get 6-11-5, I'd be hard pressed not to pick them to get back to the Super Bowl.
What do you make of the Packers, Mr. Stacken? 3 in a row on the road. Probably, I would say they'd be a 3-point underdog next week at Minnesota.
I am absolutely stunned by how bad Aaron Rodgers has regressed. And listen, the loss of Jordy Nelson was a huge one to begin with, and I know Devontae Adams has missed some time with an ankle. Who's Corliss, their tight end, has missed time. Eddie Lacy's on himself, but Aaron Rodgers is still good. I mean, if Tom Brady can make no-name guys look really good, Aaron Rodgers should be able to do the same thing. And right now, that is as embarrassing of a loss as you could possibly get to the lowly 1-7 Lions, who have fired everyone under the sun except for their head coach, who they're just hanging out there to be a lame duck. There's questions surrounding whether Megatron's done, Matthew Stafford done in Detroit, and to go out there and Detroit gave him every possible chance at the end to win that game, and Green Bay still couldn't do it. They are nowhere close to being a Super Bowl team. I will go out on a definitive limb right now and say they will not win the Super Bowl. Let's
not go nuts here.
It is Arizona or Seattle or Carolina coming out of the NFC.
Seattle's 3 games out of a playoff spot, for Christ's sake.
They will find a way to get a wild card because Atlanta's shitting the bed right now. I like Schottenkirk said there about Arizona. I think Carolina's going to get the 1 seed in the NFC, but Arizona's the team to watch out for right now. As long as Carson can stay healthy, and I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest difference between Arizona being superb and them just dropping off the map is Carson Palmer staying healthy. If he can do that, Arizona is probably the team to watch out for, but I will not discount Seattle.
I'll discount Seattle. They're awful. They're no good. Ending tonight's Sunday night game, the Vikings are the 2 seed. 9 games into the year, it's 7-2. I'm most impressed with the defense. When they need a stop, they get a stop. Adrian Peterson had that run of about 3 weeks where the offensive line was not good, and he didn't do anything. Last couple games, 100 yards every game, 200 today. Very, very good.
Offensive line isn't very good. Let's be real here.
It's not. Yeah.
Pick up blitzing at all. TJ Clemmings looks like a lost sheep out there for at least half the game. They need to bring in tight ends for protection. If this offensive line were better, if Sullivan were there, if Phil Loadholt was healthy, I'd say that this team would be the second best in the league. But I can't go there because their offensive line is the way they are.
Yeah, they're not the best. I think Berger's done fairly well at center.
Yeah.
And Khalil has been, I'd say, average. He hasn't been a glaring weakness like he has been, like he was last year, so that's good. But he figured something out injury-wise or whatever the hell it was. Green Bay next week. They played the Packers in a playoff game 5 years ago, and they had the game the week before to get into the playoffs. I would say this is the biggest game next week since that game 5-6 years ago. Is that right, or is there a game I'm missing here?
No, I think that's right.
Let's be real here too. It's the first true litmus test to see if this team is as good as people think it might be. Because at the beginning of the year, you look at the schedule. These first 9 games, they made it through 7-2. And anybody that thought they would be anything knew that they had to be probably at least 6-3 in the first 9, and they won up to that 5-game winning streak, won 3 straight on the road for the first time in a long time. There's all the signs in the world pointing upwards, but what's their big win so far? Is Oakland the biggest win they've had to date? It might be.
I thought they would lose today. I thought they would lose.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Rams and Raiders. Yeah.
People said last week that the Rams were going to be a big test, and now I don't know with the way they look today against Chicago if that win. A lot of people are going to say, "Oh, the Rams aren't that good. The Vikings maybe should have won by more." But the Rams and Raiders are far more difficult this year, like the last 2 weeks that the Vikings had to play them, than a lot of people thought they were coming into the season. A lot of people thought those would be easy wins, and those have proven to be 2 teams that are definitely on the rise.
Let me just say this. Look at the next 4 games. You got Green Bay, at Atlanta, home against Seattle, and at Arizona. If they go 2-2 or better, I'll start buying in for real. But I could see, honestly, I could see anything from 0-4 to 3-1 in those next 4. I could see them all losing them all, and I could see them running off and winning a few and being a legit contender to be the 1 seed in the NFC. These next 4 weeks are going to define the season like everyone knew coming in.
Oh, yep. Yeah, absolutely. But I think even if you go 2-2, they're still in prime position for at least no worse than a wild card spot.
You think about it this way: if they win next week, they'll be 2 games up and with a game in hand too. So essentially 3 games up in the division. It's a massive game next week.
With 6 to go, they also have the Bears and the Giants at home. Week 15, week 16 at Green Bay at the end of the year. So maybe 10-6 preseason thoughts. If you can get to 9 wins, 9-7's looking pretty good right now because you're a couple games clear of anybody else. So I think 10 wins gets you in, 9 may have to do with the tiebreaker. So go 3-3, 3-3, 3-4 should probably be good enough for 10-6. Not win the division, but get into the playoffs. So. Charlie, Green Bay, we touched on it, but what the hell's happened? Aaron Rodgers, there's injuries. But beginning of the year didn't really think that mattered, but now all of a sudden, I can understand Carolina tough. They scored points late to make it close and almost tie it. Denver, very good defense. Detroit, unacceptable. What's happened here with the Packers?
That is a really good question. I like a lot of people, I thought the Packers would be in the Super Bowl, and then after Nelson got hurt, I thought that Rodgers was just good enough that they'd still find a way to get there. I mean, certainly I don't want to say it's impossible that they could, but they have really looked bad the last few weeks. And, like you said, losing a close game at Carolina maybe isn't the worst thing, but you can't lose at home to Detroit for the first time in 24 years or whatever, especially when Detroit literally tried to hand the Packers the game about 5 times at the end there. That after they didn't get the 2, they still gave up an onside kick. And I don't know. I think, sometimes even good players like Aaron Rodgers just have years where things don't quite click. It could be that. I think sometimes we forget he's like 31 or 32. I hope this isn't the case as a guy who's not a Packers or Vikings fan. But I hope it's not that, like, he's just kind of hit that age where he's starting to decline already. That would be sort of unfortunate. But, I don't know. I think this will just be one of those years where we look back and we're just like, I guess it was weird that they weren't very good in the middle right there, and I don't know what happened.
The change
Basically,
of the
a long way of saying I don't have a clue what's going on with Green Bay.
Well, I'll ask you what the fuck's going on with Peyton Manning. This man is finished. What injury? Schottenkirk is going to be the neck, shoulder, foot, groin. What injury is going to come out here? Whether it's
the foot, the chest. We know this already.
The chest? The chest?
And the foot.
Well, the chest and the foot. And this is what we're going with?
Can we do the Tim Duncan thing where it just says old next to it?
It's, today was probably by far his worst performance of his career, getting benched for freaking Brock Osweiler. It's just mind-boggling. The rest of the season, I don't think he can't be as bad as he was today unless, if he's hurt, he's hurt, and sit him down for a week. I think that defense is good enough to carry them. They got just shellacked at home by Kansas City today. Nobody saw that coming, but it's certainly what I was getting at a year plus ago, and even the Super Bowl against Seattle was really the determining factor to me to see the arm strength wasn't there. He's got weapons. It's just he's 40 years old. The arm strength's nothing like it was. Any sort of wind, any sort of cold, it's just horrific, and that offensive line that he has in front of him is not doing much good for him. If I'm him, regardless of how the rest of the season plays out, I don't think I come back next year.
He's lucky if he'll make it through this year. It's not
There's
good.
actually talk that he might be he would be working with the Titans next year in the front office.
Really?
That's the rumor out there. Kind of go back home, where he had played college ball and work in the front office there. Because right now the Titans don't have any real set plan there in the front office either. So there is some talk about Peyton perhaps working with the Titans next year.
Mm.
Peyton could work almost wherever he wanted next year, except as a starting quarterback, I bet.
Maybe he shouldn't be making so many Papa John's pizzas and his feet wouldn't hurt.
Well, if he wanted, like he could be like the ESPN or NBC or CBS analyst, and he would take over. I think they would get rid of anybody to have Peyton come in and do his kind of like, oh shucks, and then some weekly Peyton reviews game tape with whatever.
What do we got in this New England game here? 26-24, 4th and 1 from the 36. What do we got? A 53, 52-yarder?
54-yarder, says the
calling it.
What do we got?
He's going to miss because the Patriots can't beat the Giants in big games ever.
How much time we got? Is this a timeout situation here?
Good.
It's good, boys. Look at that.
Wait, hold on. I'm not.
Penalty?
Okay.
Penalties? Penalties?
No, I'm just like 5 seconds behind you guys. So you were saying it was good, and I was hoping that you were lying, but you were not.
There we go. Game over, no time left?
1 second.
1 second. So pending.
Where's Corn Elder from Miami at?
Corn Elder, get him.
The worst
That
part
clock operator's pulling some bullshit.
The worst part about this is the Cowboys have lost 7 straight now, and they're still in the NFC East race.
What the hell? They're not in the race. People have been blowing their loads all week that they've lost 6 in a row, now 7 in a row, that they're still in the race. We're almost back next week. They're 2-7. They'd have to win out. They're not winning the next 7.
Blowing their loads, folks. They're blowing them.
Bam. Well, this is a good stat here. AFC South, NFC East. 0 teams over 500. Good. Giants
And
lead the pack at 5-5.
guess what? 2 divisions the Vikings get to play next year.
The East and the South. Oh boy, that's.
Shoddy's Jaguars are going to get hot and make it to the AFC title game.
Let's fucking go.
Good there. Cincinnati at 8-0. New England still kicking hard here. I would love all 3 teams to be 16-0. I would love that, all 3 of them. That'd be great. Or at least one in each conference.
I think one of them plays the other, right? Cincinnati and Carolina, do they play?
Do they?
This year? No.
That'd suck.
NFC South, AFC South are playing one another this year.
So, Kriens, does that mean that you're hoping for an 18-0, 18-0 Super Bowl matchup where there's going to be a guaranteed undefeated team?
I don't know about that. I don't want to see a team go undefeated. Maybe that'd be fine. That'd be fine, I guess. 18-0, 18-0, the biggest of all time.
The most important Super Bowl ever that New England ends up winning 38-17, and everyone quits watching at halftime because it's boring.
On the shittiest turf of all time.
Oh, we're getting some pitches here and some shit. Yeah, this is good stuff.
Is it done yet?
Not done yet. We got some fat bastards, a lot of fat bastards with the ball.
Yeah, probably not put those guys out there.
Odell Beckham, he's running back. Wrong way. He's out of bounds. Yeah, he's out of bounds.
So,
since we've asked everybody else, Marcus Traxer, your Green Bay Packer thoughts. 3 losses in a row. Panthers and Broncos, understandable. Detroit, shits.
That's a bad one. I would say that puts them on equal footing. I mean, I know that the Vikings are ahead of them now in the standings, but for as bad as the Vikings' loss at San Francisco was, that's the Packers' bad loss for the season so far. So they each have 1 bad loss. Makes me feel a little bit better that it came at Lambeau Field. And I mean, as we pointed out in our little chat that we have, the Lions tried to piss that away very nicely, and Packers still couldn't do it. So I don't know. They got some problems. A lot of them seem to actually be on offense, which is surprising. And I don't know. I mean, I still think that if you had to put a gun to my head, I'd still say that the Packers are going to win the division. But I don't know. It makes for a very interesting game next week. That's for sure.
Who wins next week at home? 3:25 start. Vikings defense killing men left and right. I mean, if you can't score against Detroit, Jesus Christ.
I'd say the Vikings will win, but I don't know. There's just something that jumps out to me that I don't think the Vikings are going to win the division. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, tough stretch coming up. So
I have less confidence now after the Packers lost to the Lions that the Vikings will beat the Packers next week, but I will still pick the Vikings because I did at the beginning of the year.
Very good. How are your picks looking, stacking?
This week or overall?
Overall, your picks from 2 months ago where you picked all 256.
The Vikings, I am exactly right at with 7-2. Let me go get the magazine. I'll count this up here.
Go get it. Go get it. We'll talk.
We want a game-by-game breakdown for every team and how far you were off on margin of victory.
At week 6 matchup for the Jets, third quarter. What did you think? There you go. So you just going to get it. God damn.
Did you have that high-scoring Giants-Saints game?
Yeah, how did you have that? Well, I had it 38-17, but it was 100-106. Any other NFL thoughts before we move on to the college?
No, fuck the NFL. I'm with Almond. He's starting to wear on me. He's starting to get to me. I'll go outside next week and look at the trees like he does.
They lost today. I find myself as an Oakland Raiders fan somehow now, which is crazy because for the most part I've not liked the Raiders, but I don't know. I think they're at least like sort of entertaining to watch at times, although they did lose today.
My one not important NFL thought from today. Oh, 2. I really like the Jaguars. Nice job, Jaguars. Way to go, Jaguars. Also, goddamn St. Louis Rams, you're bad. You got skull pounded by the Chicago Bears. Bad.
Which is more embarrassing, the Rams loss or the Packers loss?
I'll say this about the Bears: they've lost some close ones.
They've been in them. Yep.
They've been in them. Got their asses pounded a few weeks ago. Probably should have beat that Minnesota club a couple weeks ago, but didn't. So that's where that goes.
Also, just because the highlights are going on right now, the Saints are an embarrassment. You're embarrassing.
Ooh. Well, all right. College football ranks, Charlie, LSU lost. Baylor lost. Stanford lost. Utah lost. All had dreams of running the table, being in that discussion for one loss. Which of those teams had the worst loss / best chance to do something, but now they're done?
Before the loss, I guess I would say, I mean,
It's got to be Baylor.
I was gonna, yeah. I think before the loss, I'd have to say Baylor. I think you could make a case for LSU or Stanford. With LSU, it was tough because they didn't have the tiebreaker after they lost to Alabama, and I thought Stanford still could have maybe made some noise, but clearly not now. But yeah, Baylor. And yeah, I guess big game Bob Stoops is back, and
Boom.
Once a year.
The PFT commentator on Joe Flacco, is he elite? There needs to be a big game Bob Stoops. Or when it says like big game Bob in quotation marks and not capitalized real sarcastically. And then when they win, it's all in caps with an exclamation point.
Yeah.
Big game Bob Stoops.
I like that. As a fellow,
I don't have any. There's no in between. I haven't come up with any of those yet, but
it's just the very basic elite or not elite conversation. We might as well just apply it to Bob Stoops at this stage. For me, as I jumped in and rudely interrupt Charlie, I said it was Baylor. They had the right games at home. They had Oklahoma at home last night. They don't have a conference championship game, which I know Shoddy all season, rightfully so, has said that he didn't think the Big 12 was getting anybody in the playoff. But if Baylor went undefeated, they weren't going to be left out. So they had that chance. What?
That's what I said all year, that the Big 12 champion had to be undefeated to get in.
Yeah, I know. But as you've also shown the league general disrespect, which I also like, because I think any of them with one loss, the hell with them. And I don't think Oklahoma's going to get in. I like Oklahoma, but I mean, I don't know. I suppose if they went out, that you can give them a chance, given how dysfunctional some of these other conferences are already, given that the Pac-12's already got 2 losses, and who really knows what's going to happen in the SEC. It's not like they're going to get 2 teams in. You're only going to take 1 team from the ACC. So I think, I mean, I guess it's possible, but I just think they're all going to cannibalize each other. And I don't know, Baylor pissed it away. Just when I'm starting to fall in love with their offense, as a lot of people already have, they were turds last night.
Well, could it be they actually played a team worth of shit? How about that?
It tends to happen when you got a true freshman quarterback in his second game ever, too. If Seth Russell's healthy, Oklahoma, 100%.
Baker Mayfield.
1,000%.
1,000%, yes. Baker Mayfield, Heisman. Any takers here? Got to wait and see what he does. Could he be a dark horse?
He can
dark
die.
Horse. If he plays like this again next week, he's going to be a finalist.
I have a strict no dumb first name Heisman Trophy policy.
Carl Anthony Towns, you're out.
What about Jameis Winston?
Yeah.
I didn't want him to get it. That's all there was to it.
Crab legs.
Fair enough.
That was also the no rate policy.
That's reasonable. I guess I'm not going to stand in the way of that.
How about Jack Quiz Rogers? Was he eligible?
He was, because that's a good name. He's black.
Stack, do you have any update on your picks?
Where are they at?
Well, give me a team, and I'll tell you what I had them at.
Huskies.
Texans.
The Texans, I had them at 2, and let me bring this up here. I had them at 2 and 6.
2 and 6.
So 1 game difference.
Okay.
The Outlaws. Who'd you have the Outlaws at?
They are the indoor football league, correct?
Yeah.
I had them at 7 and 3.
Good. I knew I could count on you to pick that league.
How about the New York Hitmen?
Did they play the Omaha Beef?
They were in the XFL. No.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe they could. Maybe some of those guys moved over to the Omaha Beef team.
Okay, that was 15 years ago, so who knows? They're still kicking. Heisman,
Still say
Fournette,
that-
early favorite. Best what?
I was just going to say, I was still going to say that the XFL still had the best coin toss ever.
Yeah.
Didn't get anything else right, but they got the coin toss right.
Mainly because it involved no coins and also no tossing.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, is he number one now? Schottenkirk handicapped the deal here. Fournette there. Bad 2 weeks for him. Derrick Henry kicking everybody's ass.
Yeah, probably him. I'd put that Coleman, the wide receiver at Baylor, up there, and I'm
We can't
still
hear
gonna,
Schottenkirk. Schottenkirk's moving or
Stop
something.
talking.
Schottenkirk was moving. I couldn't hear nothing.
Speak.
Nope, we got nothing. We got nothing.
Bark twice if
I
you're
would
in the
say, I think right now you got to say that Henry's in the lead, but to give a shout out to Schottenkirk's Trojans, this year reminds me a lot of 2002 when Carson Palmer ended up winning, and nobody cared about Carson Palmer until about the last 3 weeks of the year, where he just absolutely torched. I don't know, he was like Notre Dame and UCLA and somebody else that was ranked, and I think that you could still see guys who are sort of not truly talked about as much get into it if they do a lot over the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I think Baker Mayfield certainly did that, and I think he's in the discussion, but there's all sorts of crazy stuff that can happen still.
Stack instead of Coleman.
and Ezekiel Elliott.
That was your preseason pick, I believe.
Yep.
Really no quarterbacks. Maybe from Clemson, but that's about it.
I won't even throw him. No.
Really?
I just don't. The quarterback play has not been strong this year. There's not one guy that's really stood out.
More of a running back sort of deal.
You need to look at Baker Mayfield's stats stacking. Old Baker's having a fantastic year.
Comparable to
Now that
Bradford and
Oklahoma's
White.
back into conscious.
Comparable to Bradford and White. Schottenkirk, what do we got here? We got anything going?
Baker this week, Butcher next week, I say.
Is it a Baker's dozen?
I would not be. They play TCU next week, right?
I believe so.
You could torch
I
him.
think so. I would not be surprised if Baker Mayfield threw 3 picks next week and went from 1 week being in the thick of the Heisman race to Oklahoma and being the hot team just instantly is out of it again.
I'm going to save that Baker this week, Butcher next week thing in my drafts, my tweet drafts. I got that down.
I'm going to turn on my Horned Frog squad and say they get trounced next week.
Wow.
If Boykin's not there, their defense has been bad all year because they're down to their 9th string fuckers there. It's not good, TCU. It's not good.
Boykin, get in there.
Boykin, get in there. Schottenkirk, are we here?
Oh, he did.
He did.
Do you guys remember last year this time where everyone started throwing like Oklahoma and Iowa under the bus and they're not any good anymore? So who should we start throwing under the bus right now to make sure they're really good next year?
Minnesota, Virginia Tech.
You can only get one stack and you can't pick 2.
Okay, I'll take Vatek, and then Traxler will pick the Gophers.
You got it. Just kidding. North Texas. Go Mean Green.
Give me Wisconsin. 8-2. Let's go. The Big 12, I mean, you got Oklahoma State. They got their first TCU game done. Barely beat Iowa State. They keep on going there. They got Baylor this coming week at home. That's a winnable game. We've seen what Baylor can do. Now you put the Baylor squad on the road. Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, that could be the game to decide it at the end of the year. Again, a de facto Big 12 championship game. It seems to me that a couple weeks ago, Oklahoma around 16 in that playoff, kind of like where Ohio State was, I believe, a year ago. Both had awful losses. And for some reason, I think Oklahoma gets the benefit of the doubt because their name's Oklahoma and they're not Baylor or they're not TCU. Similar to Alabama. If one of those two schools lost to shit like Texas, they'd be dismissed. But because they're Oklahoma, by God, if they run the table, they'll be right fucking there.
Do they jump Iowa in the standings this week? Or in the ranking?
What's the poll say? I didn't get the polls in the mail today.
Well, I'm just wondering the college football playoff ranking.
Iowa's 5? I would say no. Where do we think? I said, last week, Oklahoma State jumped 6 spots. Me and Stacken talked about this. They jumped 6 spots for a home win versus TCU. Oklahoma beating Baylor at Baylor, I think, is more impressive. What they were 12.
Snapped a 20-game win streak.
Snapped in half. Do they switch? Do they go all the way up to 6 now?
Okay, so I'm here, and coaches polling AP top 25 both have Iowa at 6, Oklahoma at 7.
Oh.
You're looking at it wrong, Stack. And you got to look at the college football playoff poll from last week, and then figure who's going to jump and who's going to fall based off that.
Looking at how the coaches were looking at it now to base it off that, because I would put Oklahoma above Iowa because Iowa barely beat me.
Well, so did Ohio State. So.
True.
My favorite team. Go Buckeyes. Schottenkirk, are we here?
He gone, man.
He gone.
Rest in peace, Schottenkirk.
North Carolina goes from 17 in the AP up to 12, but they were 23 in the playoff. I mean, they beat the hell out of Miami, which tends to happen against Miami. North Carolina, I'll give Larry the floor here, 9-1. Any chance they knock off the #1 team in the country here in a month's time? They're sitting there 11-1, 12-1.
Hell yeah, man! I'd say yeah. If they beat Clemson in the ACC title game, I was just gonna look. Who was their only loss to?
South Carolina. Is that any
South
worse
Carolina
than
in
Texas?
week 1.
Is that any worse than losing to Texas?
Not at all. Not at all. And they have 2 very winnable games here in the regular season. They got at Va-Tech, F Va-Tech, and then they got NC State. Although losing at NC State would be the classic Clemsoning, to borrow an ACC term.
Hey, goddammit, don't use that term. We've beat several teams.
It is a bad term, but I can definitely use it for another ACC team, can't I?
Sure.
Since there's nothing wrong with that. So, go Tar Heels. Wear your dumb shit uniforms.
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago, this wasn't the case. But I would imagine if you're Clemson, I mean, certainly if you're Clemson, you're going to be confident you could win and play your best and expect to win and all that, yada, yada, yada. But I bet they were a lot more comfortable about winning the ACC a couple weeks ago than they are after looking how North Carolina has just shred teams the last couple of weeks.
And the Pac-12 officially done because Utah lost to Arizona in double overtime, and Stanford lost to Oregon. So all those years where Stanford beat Oregon, teams are switched now, and Stanford's good and Oregon's not, and Stanford can't beat the worst Oregon team they've played in a decade. So funny how that works. Big 12, winner plays Iowa in the Rose Bowl, I suppose. Probably the worst game known to man. My God, who...
You don't want to watch Stanford and Iowa play in the Rose Bowl?
Here's the deal. Stanford, Iowa, Michigan. Any difference in any of them?
No. Stanford has a better running.
Stanford's got the best running back of those three.
Weirdly, Iowa probably has the best quarterback, C.J. Beathard.
Beat hard, sir. Beat hard is what I call him.
Yeah, I do too.
Everybody calls him beat hard.
I'll allow it.
But yeah, if it's an Iowa-Stanford or an Iowa-Utah Rose Bowl, which looks very possible, you could basically just go to the Big Ten Network and try to watch a replay of the Wisconsin-Stanford Rose Bowl or the Stanford-Michigan State Rose Bowl, and it'll basically be the same thing as that.
There's never a pocket on New Year's Day if you stay up late to really get a good 3-hour nap in, so that might be your chance on New Year's Day. Iowa and Stanford are playing each other, and you can rest up for whatever game's on at night in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, you're able to watch that Michigan-Florida game at 11 a.m. I mean, that might be one of the best pre-big games.
Over under about 12.5 for that, my God. Are we back, Schottenkirk?
God, I hope so.
Yes. Well, it was the fucking Navy sweatshirt. You fucked the Navy.
Some sort of interference. They got me on the radar and they decided to kick me out or something.
Good. We were talking about the Pac-12. They're finished, and we mentioned how it'd be a good idea to get a nap in New Year's Eve. That Iowa-Stanford Rose Bowl. Is that nap time for you?
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
Iowa Stanford Rose Bowl would be the next, or one step away from hell. So yeah, it would be perfect.
What do we got here with the Houstons, with the Navies? Memphis, they lose again in a close one, blow a big lead on the road at Houston, so they're done basically. Memphis Temple this week had all the makings 3 weeks ago. That has no of the makings right now. Houston's at UConn, and Navy's playing, I think they play VMI, the VMI squad coming up. Navy Houston, are these the two teams left getting that bowl game?
They play 2 weeks too.
What do we think? Navy Houston.
It'd be interesting. I kind of want to see Navy win because that would set up an interesting dynamic. Would they be in a conference title game the week before the Army-Navy game? So they would have 14 games, and if they were 13-1, what kind of bowl game would they be looking at? They'd be looking at one of the New Year's Six, wouldn't they?
And their one loss was to Notre Dame. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good. They would probably be in there, and I know me and Charlie talked at least a year ago. What would ever happen if Navy was in like the BCS top 2 or top 4? Would they just stop every fucking thing? And it looks like yes, they would just stop everything, or just stop the game that matters to them, because you can do all the other bowl games, doesn't really matter. You would have to hold off on the Navy game and any other game that would be affected by that. So
it wouldn't happen, but would anything like typify a crazy season more than everyone waiting for Navy to make sure that they win, and somehow Army beats Navy for the first time in like 12 years then?
The terrorists have won if that's the case. The terrorists have won.
Like 6-2?
6-2. And the two...
Too crazy not to happen at this stage.
And the 2 points is a safety at the end, an intentional safety by Army to get it out of their end zone.
The 2 is they block a field goal and they run it back for conversion.
Very nice. So you got the Big 12 games, TCU at Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma kills them. UNC at Vatech. Any chance your Vatech squad can put up any fight in Beamer's last stand here?
Oh, yeah, they'll put up a fight for about the first 7 minutes, and then Marquise Williams, or whatever the UNC's quarterback name is, will just kill them. So 7 minutes I'll give them. But then again, I thought they were going to lose at Georgia Tech, as evident by my pick this week. I just UNC's on such a roll right now. I just don't see how Virginia Tech will still be bowl eligible because they're going to kick the shit out of Virginia here in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So I'm not worried about that.
That's what Syracuse thought.
You're not accounting for the ghost of Mike London.
Oh, I am. He's going to drop.
Coach about to get fired. Doesn't have anything to lose.
Fuck it. We'll still roll. We'll beat those shits in Charlottesville or whatever the fuck place they have their university established in, and we'll be 6-6, make a bowl game. So
the old Jefferson plantation.
Give me your top 5 coaching candidates right now to replace Beamer.
Oh, fuck, probably Bud Foster, Rich Rod. Fuck, give me that Houston coach.
He's not coming.
Kiffin.
Greg Schiano.
No, fuck. Who's the Alabama defensive coordinator? Kirby Smart?
No.
He's not. Oh, in hell.
I don't know. I really only, I guess, have top 2 would be.
Well, guess what you did.
Change your mind.
How does Turner Gill sound?
No.
How about Georgia offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer?
I was thinking maybe Charlie Weiss, and then he could get fired in another 3 years and have another university pay him millions of dollars.
That's true.
He needs another big, huge contract to get bought out.
Stack. How about Mac Brown? What do you think?
That wouldn't be bad, but he's old.
He's like 53. He's Beamer.
Yeah, but I think you need someone that's going to be in the position for a while. I'd say Bud Foster's probably the favorite at this point.
Can I suggest a certain tight ends coach at Florida State? One, Tim Brewster.
Oh, please, that would thrill me to pieces watching. Oh, we're gonna go to the Orange Bowl. We're gonna be there all the time. And 3-9 season later, fuck you, Tim. Get out of here.
Former Iowa State head coach Stan McCartney's available, but don't Google where he coached this past year. You don't want to know.
You know what? Maybe we could get Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh. That wouldn't be that far of a move.
No.
Baltimore to Blacksburg. That's like a couple hundred. That's like 100 miles. Perfect.
Sounds like you're volunteering. I think current Texas San Antonio coach Larry Coker at Virginia Tech.
Actually,
hey, Larry Coker did something that Frank Beamer never did. He won a national title.
National championship winning coach. You gonna turn that down?
Yeah, well, true. I was thinking maybe the North Texas coach too. He's had a little free time on his hands to try and land some recruits. That would be excellent as well.
What about Coach O stacking?
Ooh, gotta get that Coach O.
Or Craig Bowl out of Wyoming. He seems to be doing an excellent job there. Maybe
you're not Ed Orgeron. You're just gonna go right to Craig Bowl.
Yeah, I know Ed Orgeron. I know that's who we were talking about.
Hey, strike while the iron's hot.
You know, Peyton Manning's probably going to retire at the end of the year. How about Peyton Manning?
I would take it. How about Michael Vick and then Marcus could be like an offensive coordinator or something.
No, you want Michael
Vick.
What?
Yeah, they'd probably be good at recruiting.
What about Mike Leach?
Ooh. I would be okay with that.
Do you have any pitch hits?
That's my Walker. I think he has a pretty good chance of being in the running for that job.
I would take that. I would take Mike Leach. Like I say, I'm okay with Rich Rod or Bud Foster, but Leach I'll take.
It won't happen, but he is starting to get some heat where he's at and maybe wants to make a move. But what would you think about Kevin Sumlin coaching at Virginia Tech?
So he could switch quarterbacks every other week? I could be okay with that.
Exactly.
3 names?
I think they should hire Marcus Vick as the compliance director at the school. Be about a 15% chance they follow the rules.
Carl Pelini.
Bowl band. Oh.
You got some bowl
That's the best one we've got so far.
Matt Williams.
God damn it.
My final one, Sylvester Croom.
He took Mississippi State to a bowl game, and Kevin Smith ran for like 2,600 yards.
They did an SEC 30 for 30 on him. Stacking, what do you say?
Let's have Al Golden while we're at it. I think that's better.
If you had to pick between Al Golden or Lane Kiffin, which one would you take?
Lane Kiffin.
Nobody has taken up the Houston Nut special yet, so would you take?
What about his brother? Dickie Nutt.
Dickie Nutt.
Former SEMO men's basketball. Dickie Nutt. All right, enough of that. Christ. That was good.
Enough of just throwing random coaches' names out.
Yeah.
Delay until 5 minutes.
How about John Stiegelmeier?
You're going.
Daryl Hazel.
Well, you know what? I've been here long enough. We got the facilities. Fuck all this. I don't want it anymore. New facilities go to hell. Yeah, play in the dirt. Charlie, I mean, top 4 really shouldn't change at all. You got anything? Clemson 1, Alabama 2, Ohio State 3.
I would say probably not. I wouldn't. I doubt it changes. But, you know, there have been all sorts of times I thought things would work out a certain way and they haven't. But my guess is it will be everybody from 6 through 12 that changes dramatically as opposed to 1 through 5.
And Notre Dame there 4. That's about your list right there. Anybody have problems with that? Anybody think Oklahoma State should be in that spot? I'm sure this week did not help.
No, if they had a chance of being in the top 4 last week with that win against TCU, it was not helped this week at all by escaping names. So, no, they're out.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that since it was on the road against an Iowa State team that might not be good, but they're at least competent. They're not Kansas, Kansas is incompetent despite almost having a chance to beat TCU. But I think when it gets this late in the year, I'm not going to completely throw teams under the bus for winning a close conference game on the road. If it was at home against Iowa State, I would be more.
But I'm not saying they have to drop. Speaking of incompetent Kansas, though, did you see the quarterback's Big 12 sticker was flipped upside down, so it was the Big 8?
The Big 8! Whoops.
Good job, Kansas.
Good job. Those are throwback uniforms. And also Florida, Vanderbilt last week, that was impressive. And South Carolina with a 3-point game with 2 minutes left, impressive as well. I'd like to see where Oklahoma is in relation to Florida, since Florida lost to LSU and Oklahoma lost to Texas. I think Oklahoma jumps up to probably no lower than 7 this week, maybe even 6. College basketball, first couple games in the books. North Carolina, Kentucky, some heavy favorites. Mr. Schottenkirk, what do we need to know here 4 months out?
Well, we're going to get a pretty good idea about the title contenders Tuesday night. We got North Carolina, Kentucky, and, or I should say, who's in that? Michigan State plays Kansas, I think.
Duke,
yeah.
But anyways, there's 4 or 5 title contenders in Chicago on Tuesday night. There's the Blue Bloods are the heavy favorites this year. Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina. Duke's going to be in there. Maryland probably be in there. It's kind of top-heavy. There's probably, in my opinion, about 7 teams where I could legitimately see them winning a title. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of senior-laden teams this year for the first time in a long time. Duke is not one of the senior-laden teams, but it's going to be very, very fun to watch that offense. They're going to be probably average damn near 80 points a game. They can go up and down and get shooters all over the court. They're going to be inexperienced. I expect a few losses early. Come tournament time, with the depth that they have and the potential to get yet another guy cleared, the NCAA is pretty luck with Kansas. If Check Diallo gets cleared, I would say quite distinctly that Kansas is my personal favorite to win the title.
Okay. Stacking, who's Villanova lose in the second round as a 2 seed this year? Who's the favorite?
Oh, we're probably throwing out Stephen F. Austin's going to be a little higher than that, but if you want, the second round. Sorry, are we second?
NC State.
NC State is a 10 seed. Let's go. Huh? Villanova be the 2 seed. We'll go about 30-4.
I could maybe I will throw out Stephen F. Austin being as high as a 10 seed this year.
You're still hard on the old Austins, are you?
Yep. Give me some. I'm lumberjacking it up here, so let's.
Look at you.
Lumberjacking it up.
Not jacking it up, jacking it off. Jacking it off.
Yeah, that's true. Jacking it off.
I got a 4-month out bet for you, Kriens, if you want to listen.
What do we got?
On the Villanova front, if you want to say the second round, if you want to say the Sweet 16, if they advance further than whatever one we decide on, and they get knocked out, I'll buy you a hat from the team that knocks them out. If they advance further than whatever we decide on, you have to buy me a T-shirt or a hat from Villanova.
We go based on now.
So what do you want? You want to say Sweet 16 or further? You want to say second round or further? What do you want to say?
So they'd have to win 2 if it's Sweet 16?
Yeah. Or do you want to say? Or do you think is it fair that they have to win 3? Is that fair for you or not?
What do you think here, group?
I'd say 3 at the. Probably have to win 3.
So it's going to be 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed. They do play Nebraska next week. Look out! That's on FS1. The big bullshit there. So.
Hey, that's last year's preseason top 25 Nebraska.
Yeah, pretty good.
they're not going to be lower than a 3 seed. I don't think at this stage. They're pretty clearly the best team in that conference.
They do play at Temple February 17th, so I don't know.
Hold your nuts there.
How about this? I will say they got to win 2. They got to win 2, but I get points in their second round matchup.
How many points do you want?
8.
10.
I'll do it if you take 6.
7.
Let's do it.
7 points. They got to win their first game. They got to win their second game by at least 7, and then we do the whole deal there. So hopefully they don't play East Carolina. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But
I think if they play East Carolina in basketball, they'll be fine.
I guess if you're Schottenkirk, you hope for a huge upset in round 1, so they have to play someone awful in round 2.
Yes.
If you're Kriens, you just hope chalk.
Yes. Mark the moment. Show 144. 50 minutes in. There you go. Put that in your book, Larry. Put it in your book.
I put the book. Where's
Little asterisk. So you got to flip to the back pages and figure out what the fuck the asterisk stands for.
It'll be in there. The ampersand.
The ampersand. Good. Good use of the ampersand. Ben Simmons. I like Ben Simmons. Bill's brother. What do I got to know about Ben Simmons? He's a big bitch.
By far the best freshman in America. Skull, the center from Kentucky, is a second. I shouldn't even say a close second. But a lot of people are on Ben Simmons to be kind of a watered-down version of LeBron, believe it or not. They think the upside is there that he could be in that role in a few years in the NBA. Unless he gets hurt, which, God, I hope he doesn't, he'll be the number 1 pick next summer. LSU should be a pretty entertaining team to watch. Results-wise, they could be a little bit up and down. They still don't have a whole lot of depth. They're starting 5. It's probably the second or third best in the SEC, and they can play with anybody on any given night, but they can also lose to a lot of teams on any given night. Simmons is going to be a guy that's going to put up a lot of numbers. I don't know matchup-wise in the tournament how well that's going to play. Their guard play is going to be a little bit spotty, but if you find time this year to seek out and watch a couple of LSU games, because you're going to like what Simmons does at 6'10". He can pass the ball probably as good as anybody in America. Finish around the basket, and he's got about range to say 16, 18 feet. And he's got a pretty pierced stroke. It's a lot of fun to watch.
How does he end up there?
Recruiting-wise, being from Australia, he kind of had a connection in the AAU circuit the last few years with Johnny Jones at LSU and one other of their ace recruiters that they have, and they've brought in some talent recently because he's not the only guy that brought in this year. Freshman that was pretty highly touted. It's one of those things where he fell in love with the coach per se, not necessarily where the school. If this guy was at Kentucky, or if this guy was at Duke or North Carolina or any of the major blue bloods, Simmons would have went there because the relationship he formed with the recruiter was enough that he could have been anywhere and would have taken to that school.
I'm on record. Shotty and I we picked our field of 68 earlier this week, and I'm on record. I think LSU's a Final Four team.
Holy fuck!
That's a good pick.
Also, Bill Simmons,
Thomas.
He thinks, Big Baby Davis on the team, Tyrus Thomas, other assholes. John Maravich is on the team. Pistol Pete Maravich, I should say. And Bill Simmons said of Ben Simmons that he could be the best young talent in the NBA since Durant. So
he's certifiable. He could play in a league right now and be decent. And this year at LSU is doing a lot of good. And there's a lot of people that know a lot of stuff. The same people that were saying that LeBron was going to be as good as he was right away. They're not at that level yet. But give him another 10 games and give him about a month and a half, and if he performs like he did last night in his first, or if that was Friday night, if that was last night, if he performs like that, anywhere near like that all season, the hype level is going to be unmatched, probably going back to Durant, like Marcus just said.
When's this going to get posted?
It's already online.
When's my internet going to update to see it?
Probably in a couple days.
When you switch from MediaCom.
Ooh.
Marcus has LSU the Final Four team, which I was on at the end of last year. If you guys recall, I was on.
Get the book out.
It's lunch for Christmas.
What do we got? Who's doing it? Who's doing it?
That's mine. Sorry.
Who's looking at the porn? Get the
Sorry,
porn.
I'm watching porn.
She's pretty hot, though, right?
Really specific stuff.
Make a bowl. I can't see Kentucky's schedule. What's Kentucky got here? I don't know.
They're
They're
going to go undefeated again.
Good. I want to see. I'm going to say LSU is 13-0 when they play Kentucky January 5th.
I like that.
That possible, but I think they trip up somewhere before they get there. And LSU,
Vanderbilt's the only thing I can see.
Vanderbilt is another team that a lot of people are hard on in the SEC. It's LSU, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky as the three probably best teams and the quite clear best teams in the SEC.
Ooh.
People aren't going to like it, but Vanderbilt's actually kind of fun to watch this year.
Boo.
Rules changes. 30-second shot clock. We like that, Larry.
Love it. Love the 30-second shot clock. I forget who said it.
You did.
Oh, actually, it was. I believe it was one SGC women's basketball coach, Aaron Johnston. I guess he said this about the women's game. He could see him going to 24 seconds, which is interesting.
Well, they also got the 4 quarters now, so anything about that?
The 4 quarters.
I did not know that until I had to do the first GPAC game. I went, they screwed this up and they put it in quarters. They don't play quarters. And asked someone, and they went, nope, they changed that rule. I went, well, okay.
I saw that the other night. I had a lousy Dakota Wesleyan Tabor, Kansas game to go shoot.
Not possible.
And it made the game go a lot faster. I liked it. So.
By the way, Notre Dame coming to Frost on Saturday.
This coming Saturday.
Jimmy Dykes and Arkansas coming on like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, shit. What is that, Tuesday?
Yep.
I think so. It's sometime middle of the week. Jimmy Dykes and Arkansas is coming this week, too.
Well, it's good to see. It's good to see the namesake of the football stadium show up for once.
No, the rule changes. I think the 30 seconds will help. I think they took a couple timeouts away too. Correct. So I think that will be helpful.
Potentially 2 less timeouts, yeah, depending how they're used.
Yeah. Penalty, free throws, things like that.
That's women's game. Women's game is 5 per quarter, and there's no 1-and-1.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, Arkansas.
I always thought
Wednesday, just to confirm.
Thursday,
I'm
Tuesday.
not saying
Wednesday against Arkansas.
Good.
I'm not saying the men shouldn't play 2 halves. Like, I'm okay with it, but I always thought it was weird that college basketball was the only level where you play 2 20-minute halves and everywhere else does it by quarters. I always thought that was interesting.
Well, I'm actually an advocate that the high school game, as it is in Minnesota, should be played in halves. I don't like the 8-minute quarters, so whatever.
And the men tomorrow play Weber State.
Weber.
That's a game.
That's actually
They
interesting.
upset North Carolina like 20 years ago.
Weber State's actually a pretty good team, and I think that's a home and home. They go out there and play them in a few weeks. That would be seeding-wise, that might be the difference between a 13 and a 14 come March.
And I hear Damian Lillard cannot suit up for this game, so that's good news.
Are they going to go out there 7 months before to get acclimated to that altitude?
Yeah.
They should too. It worked well for the Vikes. They went out a couple of days early this time, and they actually showed up.
That's a 2-hour deal there. That's a 2-hour deal. You got to get out there. Schottenkirk here, according to the blog, likes Carolina, Kansas, Maryland, Kentucky as his top seeds, and he likes Kentucky, Kansas, Carolina, and California. California on the Final Four train. Also, what do you got? Iona? Is that the team?
Yeah, Iona's a sleeper. They got fucking housed by Valpo today, so I'm not feeling so great about that anymore. But come March, I think they could scare somebody in the first round.
I think there are 8 teams that have a legit shot at the Final Four this year. Maybe 9 if we want to throw LSU in there. My Final Four is going to be Wichita State, North Carolina, Maryland. What?
Which is not making the Final Four?
I'm telling you right now that Fred VanVleet and Ron Baker are going to make a Final Four. So
I hope they both blow their knees out in the first game.
Oh, no.
How dare you? How dare you say that about my mother's alma mater?
So if Van Vliet and Baker are healthy, I'm going to take Wichita State and Maryland. Those are my two locks. I'll go North Carolina and then Kentucky for the Final Four. But I do think Michigan State's got a great chance, Gonzaga, and then the two real wild cards, Oklahoma and Cal.
There's no wild cards. You got to win your division if you want to make the Final Four.
Oh,
I'll send you $5 if you can name me 5 of Maryland's players right now.
Juan Dixon, Chris Wilcox.
10 seconds, Stag. I'll send you $5 if you can name me 5 players.
Nope, I can't do it.
Trimble, right? Isn't Trimble the big cat?
Trimble's a big cat, yep.
Trimble, yep.
That's all I got.
Gary Williams is the coach.
Maryland's one of those teams that everyone's high on it for some reason. I just don't see it. They could. I have them being a regular season team, but tournament-wise, that's going to be this year's Villanova. They'll get knocked out way too early.
I don't know if
They're
I
going
can
to be good because their ugly uniforms are going to throw off the shooting ability of everybody they play all year long.
I don't know if I can name 5 college basketball players ever. So.
You named 2 former Maryland players. That's pretty good.
Keith Benson, the boxing helmet guy.
Oh, I missed that guy.
Peckin,
Do we have a sports lounge update? What that guy's doing now?
wasn't he on
Is
their
he
bench?
changing the world?
Wasn't he on IPFWGA?
Peckinpah is the head coach at either a Division III school in Indiana or an NAIA school.
Get on there. Use your Google machine. See what we can figure out here.
Let me do that quick. I got you.
And then Larry likes a lot of the same teams. Sad to see my Temple team one of the first 4 out. Also UCLA, Florida, Ohio State.
That was very purposeful. Temple, first
Fuck
4
'em.
out.
Fuck.
Fuck
Yeah.
'em.
Well, that just means we're top seed in the NIT, and we're going to Madison Square Garden. So there. You like Carolina, Kansas, LSU, and Virginia. So there you go.
There's a video here. I need to find out where Indiana Tech is, but that's the coach. That's where John Peckinpah is the coach.
The Rulers.
The Rulers. He's entering his 2nd season there. He had been an assistant for the Warriors.
Old State.
Looks like they're
or winner.
But there's a video on this. I just googled him. Video of him and Tom Davis talking about him getting the job.
Nice.
Bastard Tom Davis.
Noted good guy, Tom Davis. So.
Might just get a Leslie Crane reference in here right now. Just have to drop it.
Got it in there. Jackets. You like the? Oh well. Speaking of that, Western Illinois.
Wow.
Puts the beat down on Wisconsin by 2. You like it?
I love it.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan because my friend and friend of the lounge, Garrick Hodge, is an alum, and he wouldn't stop talking about it on Friday night. And so I'm waiting for them to snap back to reality against whoever they play next. It's probably terrible. Indiana Tech is an NAIA school.
Speaking of Final Fours and Summit League teams or former, and if Sackin's taking Wichita State in the Final Four, I'm taking Greg Campy and Oakland to go to the Final Four.
Good. They probably wouldn't make the Final Four of the Horizon.
Say both the LSU, Kentucky 13-0 when they play January 5th. That's my deal. Pittsburgh, Gonzaga apparently played in the Orient. They played in Japan. You watch this thing, they call it at halftime because the floor is so wet, because the tsunamis from 15 years ago are still getting the island pretty good. Then you had Washington and Texas. They played in China. Bill Walton loved China. He could not get enough of this fucking country. This is my favorite part of the season. Bill Walton on these random Pac-12 games on Wednesday night, Thursday night, whenever the hell they play.
Bill Pash? Or Dave Pash, excuse me. Not
Dave
Bill.
Pash, his brother Bill.
Jim Pash.
Jimmy Pash, this is the best. This is the best thing. Bill Walton, the best thing about the season for me. Very entertaining right there. Quick NBA note. I believe Golden State's still undefeated. Beat that pretty good net squad. That net squad may win multiple games this year, and it won't be against Golden State because they beat them in overtime last night. I mean, how far are we going here? Golden State, 10-0, 15-0, 20-0.
16-0.
They'll start out 81-0 and lose game 82 just to fuck with everybody.
Will it be a 2 seed? If they lose to Texas.
They lose game 82 because they've got to rest their starters to get ready for the playoffs.
I hope they go 70. I hope they win 75 games. I really do. And I hope they get knocked out in the second round of the playoffs.
I'm already rescinding my MVP pick of James Harden and giving it to Steph Curry.
10 games in. 10 games in.
Atrocious. The Rockets have been absolutely horrible so far this year.
Proud of you, Rockets.
It's the Kardashian jinx who fucked up James Harden.
Killed Lamar Odom.
Or it could be Ty Lawson. I don't know. He seems to be a bit of a
it's just the bitch-itis that Dwight Howard's wearing off him all finally.
Oh, it could be too.
Could be anything, really.
Or it's Kevin. He
Pelicans.
doesn't want to tell anybody, so he's not giving it his all.
Pelicans. You need to worry about the Pelicans. The Ebola.
Oh,
Anybody worried about New Orleans? Bad start.
Yes. Very worried.
Injuries.
Terribly worried. Anthony Davis, I don't know what, somebody morphed his powers for a few games already this year. I don't get it. He's battling through injury, but they're in a deep hole and facing an uphill climb already. It's only second week in November, but big-ass hole, and they got to play some great ball the rest of the way to even get into that 7 or 8 seed conversation.
2 words on Anthony Davis. Space Jam.
That's right. You like that, didn't you?
He got robbed of all of his skills.
Very interesting to look back on that and see that Sean Bradley was on there. That's odd.
Sean Bradley,
Skills at Anthony Davis, and they gave them all to my guy Andre Drummond.
Is it funnier that Sean Bradley's in that movie or that Muggsy Bogues is in that movie?
I'll say Sean Bradley. I mean, that's ridiculous. Muggsy Bogues, a guy.
Kristaps Porzingis.
Porzingis. Look out for Porzingis in the remake.
Oh, he's just because he's the next Sean Bradley, apparently.
No, he's something. Who was it? Yeah, Andre Drummond. Jesus Christ. 20 and 20 every night. I mean, this was a home run for Schottenkirk here. Drummond, big time.
So far, so good. Stan Van Gundy finally realized that they didn't need Greg Monroe clogging up the lane in Detroit, and Drummond's taking over. Can't hit a free throw to save his life, and that's a big problem that they're going to face in a lot of games, including a few days ago against the Clippers. It cost them that game. But he's going to put up big numbers. They're going to be a decent squad, and I like the future. Stan Van Gundy is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated coaches in all professional sports.
Who wins the game first? Philadelphia. Who loses the game first? Golden State. What happens first? If I can give a rundown of the 70s.
Philadelphia wins first.
They win first. They host Dallas. They host Dallas tomorrow. They host Indiana. And they go on a goddamn 6-game road trip to Charlotte, Miami, Minnesota, Boston, Houston, Memphis. They play the Lakers. Those are all wins. Okay, good. I say they lose all
He's
those
not beating
games.
Big Cat Tony Towns, not in Minneapolis.
Tony Towns, let's get it going.
Tony Towns hasn't beaten anyone in Minneapolis yet. 0-5.
Well, it's early. It's early in the 162-game season. Put this in your book. Sixers go 0-18. They beat the Lakers on December 1st.
I'm not right now.
Battle of ping-pong balls in December. I fucking love it.
Battle of that. And Golden State, they host Toronto. Toronto off to a good start. They host them. They're at the Clippers. That's a worrisome game. They're at the Clippers, and they host the Bulls at Denver, altitude, death. Then Lakers, Suns, Sacramento, Utah. So next 3 games pretty tough. Win at home, go 2-1 there. It's 18-2, something like that. So good deal there.
All right.
And finally, baseball talk. The hot stove Marcus, we had to get it going because shit happened.
Yeah, all right. Well, it's your bill to pay, so that's fine.
Well, Stacken's doing it, so whatever, we'll do the bill.
It doesn't cost me anything. I'm just chopping wood over here.
You're damn right you're paying for it.
I don't fucking pay for it.
This hot stove doesn't heat itself.
That's because I'm chopping wood. I got that DER that wood cutter there. It's like 7 logs in half the
That was
time.
a pretty big investment that you haven't paid your share of.
Who, me?
It's like Alaskan bush people. I just barter with them, so I did my services. I won't tell you what I did. I'm not proud of it, but I did it.
You give them leftover wedding food, and then the invite that shows the address for blogspot.com and the Stack Attack.
Yep. Been reading it for days.
They have or you have?
They have.
Good.
I don't know.
I hope you've been reading it for more than days, Stacken.
Well, I don't know who the they is, but they've been reading it. They come in threes.
I have no idea what's going on.
Neither.
Two Twins notes. Byung Ho Park, a guy from Korea, 50-some home runs last year, 50 the year before that, 105 the last 2 years, if you do the math. He's going to be a DH guy. May see time at first base when Mauer dies this year. Expectations for Byung Ho Park, $12.5 million to negotiate. Who the $30 million, $40 million he's going to get for 5 years. Who knows how much it's going to be. They got a month here to get that figured out. Byung Ho Park, Larry, do you like the aggressiveness? Because I like it. What do you expect from Mr. Park at Target Field?
I like the move. Looks like he could be a guy. And I think he'll be the American League MVP next year.
Fuck you.
I think he's only going to finish fourth.
Behind Sano, Gibson, and Boyer.
I expect at least 20 home runs out of him, maybe 25. And you're going to see a pretty big drop off compared to Korean pitching against legitimate hitting, and he's going to have his share of struggles, I'm sure. But it would be nice. I'm just kind of excited that they went out and got a guy who should be a legitimate power hitter. That's his thing, and I would be eager to see him actually have success. I mean, they've made a couple moves like that in the past, but usually not somebody who's polished or isn't at the end of their career. So this is good.
What's the exchange rate on home runs from South Korea to the United States? How much does inflation take into account?
About a quarter.
The Korean dollar is at an all-time low.
Kriens, what do you think he's going to do?
20 home runs, that's probably tops for me. I'd say I'd put the over-under around 15.5.
Give me a slash line that you think's realistic.
I'd say the first couple months can be pretty rough. After that, get going here a little bit. 255, 320, 400 with.
We're pretty close on the slash line. I think
17 dingers, 75 driven in.
Yeah, we're pretty close on the slash line. I think the power's going to translate a little bit better. I'll be in that 260 range for an average, and hopefully get up into 330, 340 on base percentage. That might be asking too much, but I think he gets 25 dingers next year.
Does strike out quite a bit apparently. Got to cut that down. Very, very interesting to see what happens with this guy. And the second big news: Aaron Hicks, my favorite player of all time, gets traded to the Yankees for John Ryan Murphy, who is better than their current catcher. So maybe he should play over their current catcher and is a whole hell of a lot cheaper. Were you surprised that they got rid of Aaron Hicks?
Yeah, kind of. He just signals, and we've been hearing and talking about Miguel Sano potentially being a left fielder next year, which still just blows me away that they're thinking about it, much less actually might trot him out there in spring training and see if he can do it. But that's just a signal that they're serious getting rid of Hicks. This depth that they had and still do kind of have, it did surprise me, but I'm glad they did it because I might be dead wrong. I've been dead wrong about a lot of things, but I absolutely love John Ryan on this team. I think he's going to be pretty good next year, but I think 2 or 3 years down the road, he's going to be an above-average catcher, and we're going to be very glad that we pulled the trigger.
Trevor Plouffe, I still think he gets traded.
So do I. I've been saying it since July.
And if that happens, that opens up an outfield spot. Max Kepler, probably not going to be there opening day. Any thoughts on a outfield signer? Something better than Shane Robinson, for Christ's sake, but something, a one-year guy to put out in the outfield.
Ichiro Suzuki.
I really can't think of anybody that would jump out to me as being a one-year potential guy. Like I said just 2 minutes ago, I might be dead wrong about this too, but they're going to give every opportunity to Oswaldo Arcia next spring to try to win.
You have to, yeah.
They really, I don't necessarily understand why, but I have a feeling that he's got to do something next spring, otherwise they're going to be totally done with him.
No options left, so he's got to make the team.
Right.
So
he's going to have every chance to make the team. If he does, he does. If he doesn't, they're going to try to get rid of him as soon as possible.
Yeah, so I'd say Arcia, left fielder, I guess. You move Rosario to right. You put Dirty Bones in the middle there. See what he can do.
And hope and pray that he hits over 210, right, Kriens?
Please. Next year I don't expect anything. Next year, at zero expectations. I expect 0 from him.
You're expecting like a 157 average and 2 home runs the entire season, right?
I'd sign for that right now. Bullpen. I want to see him sign some bullpen guys. Get some bullpen guys. See what Plouffe gets in a trade. I want to see some bullpen guys here. Just one. I'd like more. Give me one guy. Blaine Boyer sounds like he would be interested in coming back. I don't know what they want. He did good last year. I don't know if he can keep that up. But they need a guy. Jepson was very good. He won't be that good for that long, but he's good enough. Perkins got to get his shit together. Can't get hurt again. I think just one more guy. Give me 3 guys. Hopefully one of these goddamn guys in the minors and Double-A can figure it out in the next couple of years. Because the bullpen, I think, is something that they're missing. That's an easy fix if they wanted to address it. Because position-wise, they're pretty much set in all the different positions.
As we sit right now, 4.5 months away from opening day, I think that the single player that's most important next year at this point is Glenn Perkins figuring his shit out. If he can be anywhere near what he was the last few years before the absolute collapse this year, then Jepson's okay. That's a good 1-2 punch, and you can build around that. Perkins has got to figure himself out, otherwise they're going to be in trouble regardless of what they do elsewhere in the bowl.
They need first half Perkins, not second half.
That was a big difference.
That's what happens when you go late to Perkins. Sometimes they just don't have the food for you. The late night apps aren't. Go there in the morning for breakfast. Get there early.
I go to you for all my Perkins gossip.
You should. I worked there for 8+ years.
That's why I go to you.
Perkins for 8 years, stacking.
I did.
Tell me your Ron Gardenhire story.
Yes, I waited on Ron Gardenhire back in the day. He was visiting his daughter who went to school at Southwest Minnesota State. I waited on him. I didn't spill anything on him. Provided excellent service. He he autographed my receipt that I had for him, a ticket, and he left me, $15, I think.
Ooh. What did he order?
He ordered an Eggs Benedict with hash browns and fruit. And I only gave him the best fruit.
You didn't put any goddamn cantaloupe in there, did you?
There was some cantaloupe in there.
Only strawberries, grapes, the good stuff.
Grapes, honeydew, and cantaloupe.
That's the shits. The real shits.
You probably had the shits after eating it.
Good. Craig Kimbrell traded to Boston. San Diego 1 year. That's all. I gave up 13 players for Craig Kimbrell. See how that works. And Andrelton Simmons goes from the Braves to the Angels, as the Braves want to lose all their games. They want to be the next Astros. They want to lose all the games. So that's how that works. Any of these trades significant? You got a couple of shitty teams, 2 important players going to playoff contending teams, they hope. Any of these guys?
The Brave shortstop. I mean, the run saved gets the highest, and it's not even close. And they really didn't get a whole hell of a lot for him. Who's it? Ivar? No, thank you. Braves shitting the bed on this one.
For the probably about the third time in human history, Stack and I agree on something related.
Third time? I'd say we have agreed on far more than what
at least 6.
You agreed on the Holocaust. You said that was bad, and you both agreed you would kill baby Hitler. So that was 2.
Really big move, and it shows the change of thought there, the train of thought change in upper management. I think Billy Epler is the guy that took over. I've been a big fan for a while of some of the moves that he made in other places that he's been. Young guy, and to pull a trade like this as his first move shows me that he has the nuts to do some things, and I really think it's going to work. I like Los Angeles a lot next year in the American League.
Having said all that, I still hate Mike Scioscia. Overrated. He needs to go.
Be fine with me. Blog tomorrow throughout the week, our Twins off-season stuff. I'll have something. David will have something. Larry chose to protest out of race relations. Eamon, he'll get something up in March, so that'll be fun to watch for. Then we'll all come together at the end of the week. We'll put something together. Do you want to do anything as far as like a prediction of a guy? David Price, where's he going to go? Ben Zobrist, where's he going to go? Cueto, is that something for the blog on a Friday to wrap the whole thing up?
Yeah, if one of us comes up with a list of, say, the top 10 or 20 free agents, and then we just go through it and pick a team where we think they're going to end up and what team would make the most sense, or a team that could come out of nowhere to sign somebody, I'd be definitely game for something like that.
Maybe something on a Thursday, Twins related to encompass, because we haven't seen what each other's written about the Twins. So we'll get to read each other's stuff, and if we have any questions or agreements or disagreements, maybe Thursday is a deal there we can put up too. So
I've got about 4,000 words, so hopefully we're in the same ballpark.
I don't know how much I got. I got like a page and a half, 2 pages. I don't think it's 4,000 words.
Is it single space?
It's Arial. I put in Arial.
Triple spaced 18 font in Arial.
There you go. You make the period. You make the period 26 font, and you pick up 7 pages for every 100 to type. So terrific indeed.
Quickly here, I did just add it up. I have 4 teams, records exact: Bills, Jaguars, Vikings, and Saints. 12 I'm 1 off on. 12 I'm 2 wins off on. 4 I'm 3+.
What's the worst team you have?
Chargers, I think, is what it's looking like. And the Lions. I'm off on the Lions.
I think our playoff picks not bad, especially in the NFC. Not too bad.
Everyone's missing Carolina.
Everyone's missing Carolina. A lot of people have the Vikings. Good to see. So.
Hey, Trax, did you pick again in the Super Bowl to come out of the NFC?
I picked Cowboys.
How's that working out?
Makes a difference when they're
I picked Colts in the AFC.
Oklahoma State still there. Cowboys. Let's go.
Or under half a locker room outburst this week from Des Bryant, or over under 1.5 odd fiascos involving Greg Hardy and Des Bryant in the week.
I want Des Bryant and Greg Hardy to pull a gun on each other at the same time, right? Just stay in the locker room when all the reporters are letting him talk to him after practice. His shorts, he's got a gun, he turns around. Where the fuck's Des at? And Des turns around, I'm right here, bitch, and he's got his gun right there.
I just want to say that Shoddy and I think, are 2 different guys. But I think that was when we became friends in college, is when he would reenact some sort of incident or thing that we wanted to have happen. And it'd be something like that where, like reporters come in and all of a sudden Shoddy acts out the mock fight shootout scene between Greg Hardy and Des Bryant. That's when he endeared himself to me a lot. So that's where our friendship.
So wait, which one's talking? I was cutting in and out. Which one's talking to reporters, and which one has their music hit midway through and then come in to confront the guy?
Hardy's talking, and Des has his music hit when Greg says something stupid about Des.
I like it.
Can Gilbert Arenas be the referee?
Hardy has the guns.
What, Stacking?
We know Hardy has the guns because he likes to throw people on him. So
He does.
Last time you threw somebody on a pile full of guns.
Yesterday.
Well, probably the last time I played Call of Duty. I mean, just shooting someone onto a gun count?
Nope, you got to push them. You have to throw them.
I don't know if I've ever done it.
Yeah. You're not living life, Hildebrand. You got to live, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's a scene you can do multiple times in Grand Theft Auto.
Good. Also, UFC, Mr. Shattenkirk, we had a bit of an upset last night. Did we not?
Just a tiny little upset. Yeah, that was something that I did not expect, and about 99% of other people did not expect. But there was enough people that made a shitload of money in Vegas because the way the odds were, and Holm, disrespect, whatever you want to say, the price was there that if you wanted to, throw a speculative 10 or 100 on her, it wouldn't be the end of the world because if it hit, you'd win big, and sure as shit, leg kick, knockout, Rousey down and out for the count, and horribly wrong timing for her with being on the cover of the new UFC game that just came out, all of her involvement with the WWE, the Fast and Furious movie franchise. She took a big time hit to her bottom line, but the rematch is going to be more profitable than it probably would have ever been. And UFC 200, I'll be there, and I hope that fight's on the card.
That's when the rematch will happen, you say?
I think it will. I think it makes the most sense. That it gives Rousey some time to get her shit figured out. That gives her, 8 months? Damn near 8 months. That card is going to be gigantic, regardless if they're on it or not, but I think that would make a perfect sense as the co-main that night to probably, I would assume, Jones Cormier.
Just out of curiosity, how did everybody find out about that?
I watched it.
You watched it?
Illegally.
It was kind of funny because
I was watching. Go ahead, Traxler.
It was kind of funny because I was at a bar last night and watching sort of the end of the college football day, and
breaking news.
The bartender comes up to me and a couple other people and says, "Aren't you gonna watch the Rousey fight?" And I go, "Oh no, she'll beat her. I mean, it's not gonna even be a fight. She's gonna be an armbar." And everybody gave their picks. I said, "Oh, submission late first round, that'll be that." And I get back and I'm just following on Twitter. I'm like, "Oh, okay, the fight's starting." Shoddy even messaged me. He's like, "Hey, there's a lot of streams if you want to watch it." I'm like, "No, I'm good. And then I saw, she was getting her ass kicked in the first round. I'm like, "Oh, wow, maybe I should go find a stream." And then by the time I even had a chance to do that, she's knocked out. So that's how I found out via Twitter. And I just dismissed the fact that she could get beat. But a lot of people did that with one Mike Tyson when Buster Douglas knocked him out.
I know. I knew that it was going on, but had completely forgotten about it. And I was watching Utah and Arizona, and they went to at headquarters referee Mike Pereira or Ferreira or whatever that guy's name is, and he's like, "Actually, he's down, and it doesn't count. The play won't stand." But Ronda Rousey just got knocked out, you guys. Like, what?
I was watching.
I just thought it was interesting. It
was pretty hilarious. Like Mike Pereira, all of a sudden breaking down the fight, and you could tell. Okay, he's just like when there was only 2 college football games really on at that time, so he clearly wasn't paying that close of attention to Utah and Arizona.
Can I just say quickly that all the other networks that have tried to add officiating people like ESPN, CBS, and stuff, they have failed. Fox has knocked it out of the park with Pereira.
Are you saying
Mike
Kriens, what are we be doing this time next week?
Oh, the Survivor Series, is that next week?
That's next week.
I can smell it. Before that, does Holly Holm have a fight between now and then?
She shouldn't, but she probably will.
I'd say Misha Tate would be the only lady out there.
Yeah, that would make, if it's not an instant rematch, I think Tate would probably be the only one that would make sense. I could be wrong about my whole UFC 200 master plan, but in my ideal world, I want Jones Cormier and that rematch to be the main and the co-main that night.
Also, blog idea sometime for end of the year, a UFC prediction for that card, and a WrestleMania prediction sometime in the next few weeks.
We're gonna have a lot better idea after next week about Mania. So
I would say pretty clear Roman Reigns wins this deal. Is it just straight up he wins as usual, no shenanigans?
I think he wins, but it might not be 100% clean either.
How so?
Obviously, I don't want to break down the whole plot line for the other guys that don't give a shit. But with the Triple H thing this last week on Raw and the whole back and forth, whatever, I kind of think that they're going to make it harder for Reigns to win this tournament, and then he's going to overcome and he's going to beat whoever they put in front of him, and then that last match he's going to deal with outside interference and win in some sort of wacky way that would make some sense to me. And if it's 100% clean, and because we all know that Vince wants him to be the guy, it wouldn't shock me at least if it was just on the up and up and totally clean. But I'm very interested to see how they work it.
Stack, and you'll be there.
Covering it live.
Good. Live blog, live chat.
That's right. And live Periscope.
Oh, illegal, Stack, and I'll turn your ass in.
Good timing. We're about wrapping up, and after the 5.5-hour rain delay at Phoenix, they're about ready to go racing under the lights. So get hard.
Up. Get it cranked up.
Racing in Phoenix. It rains in Phoenix. Who knew? Picks. I'll take Gordon to win the deal next week. Who we got? Picks. Who's in it, first of all?
Sterling Marlin.
Sterling Marlin. He's in it as well.
Bill Elliott.
Bill Elliott.
Richard Petty.
Dick Petty in the deal. So next week, number 145, same time, around 6:30. Packers, Vikings. Get excited about that. We'll also see what Asian the Twins sign next week. So
real quick, we were saying like Iowa and Utah would be an absolutely awful bowl game.
Stanford.
This just popped into my head, which would be some of these teams won't be bowl eligible, but same time, 3 bowl games, you have to watch one. Which one are you watching? Are you watching Utah, Iowa? Are you watching Kansas, Central Florida? Or are you watching Wake Forest, Vanderbilt?
Oh, God.
Wake Forest, Vanderbilt.
That's a lot
Personally,
of
I would watch Kansas, Central Florida.
What was the other option?
Iowa, Utah.
Iowa, Utah, in comparison to those shit show games.
Well, I'd like a game to see if anybody would score, so I'd go Wake, Vanderbilt. Truly awful and
It would
disgusting.
be bad.
So next week, Oklahoma State, see if they can beat the hell out of Baylor, and Oklahoma and TCU. Also, we forgot to mention Michigan State, Ohio State. Son of a gun. One of the biggest games all year. Not really that big right now because of a blown call. But Ohio State can impress me again and win by 3 points. So there you go. 145 next week. Sports Lounge, Nathan Stacken, Vatek.